I'm Kate Ritter, a licensed psilocybin facilitator with Prism. Today, I'm joined by one of my lovely local community partners, Matt Falbma with Deschutes Rolfing. In this conversation, Matt is going to share a little bit about his recent legal psilocybin experience with me at Bendable Service Center in downtown Bend, Oregon. Welcome, welcome. Let's dive in and begin. So, Matt, what called you to experience a legal psilocybin journey?
Yeah, I mean, thanks for having me, Kate, and I'm happy to be here and really provide some feedback for anybody curious or interested in this work. It it called me, and I think I knew I wanted to experience what this was like in a setting that was different than the underground scene that some people may label. Um, Other plant medicine use, other ways to use plant medicine. So doing it in a facility and doing it through um, a kind of sanctioned space was I was curious about. I wasn't sure what was going to happen, but I knew I needed to experience it just because I was already familiar with um, this this medicine, and I wanted to invite it in a different way.
Lovely. And was there anything coming up in your life that kind of, nudged you towards this experience? Anything there, like as far as your intentions too around working with psilocybin?
Yeah, it's funny how it finds us right at the right time. And I think honestly that I've always been open to being able. I'm so sorry, hold on.
It's
Alexa,
okay.
stop the timer. I forgot I had a timer for the dogs. Do you want to ask me the question again?
Yeah, if there was anything that kind of nudged you in the direction of having this experience.
Yeah. So I've found in my life that there's always room to grow and room to be a better human, a better practitioner, a better friend, right? There's capacity for all of us to change our normal habits, and I think that's what I was excited about. I always invite that in, and um, so not that there, I just don't ever think there's a wrong time to want to be a better person, and I think this journey helped facilitate that. And I'm always open to ways to improve myself and also the work I do as a body worker and a sound therapist in my own practice as ways to be better and connect with my clients. So that's always important to me, and I'm also growing my practice right now, so it was a good time for this to come together.
Yeah, it was serendipitous how we connected. We've been trying to connect for a while, and then everything just kind of fell into alignment. And I just love when that happens.
Yeah, absolutely.
We did a 2-hour Zoom preparation session the week before your journey. How did that preparation session help you feel ready going into the experience?
Yeah, I think having a guide rail set out in that time frame 2 weeks before the journey, um, or a week before the journey, really helps you align yourself for the work that you're stepping into, and especially the container that you set and explained the process that was going to happen as far as everything from parking and what the space is going to look like really helps. Um, Again, I think it helps align. It helped align me as a person to know what I could expect. Again, kind of from a physical space orientation, and also for the results that were going to come up during the session, and then how we were going to handle stuff post session. So it was a really good roadmap to have that interaction time ahead of the journey.
Good,
Um,
good.
yeah, and actually, I'm going to add one more thing, Kate, that it also helped bring into alignment what I was about to step into. When you agree to do something like this, depending on, I think, on people's personality, it's you've signed up for it, but until you have that initial call, then it really becomes you're really setting things in motion for the work that's about to happen. So I think that was actually a really powerful way to start really calling in the alignment that I think you need to be in as a client and as a receiver of this kind of work. And for context, I'm happy to share that I've been dealing with some body shoulder pain, and I threw my back out about 36 hours before we were supposed to start, and it made me really nervous. Because I didn't want to be in pain. And I thought it was going to really distract me from the experience. And it did absolutely feel like a bit of um, not a challenge, but it felt like a little bit of a test. Like you need to either um, really be ready to show up, um, and it kind of tests your ability to make that decision. And I think it was a distraction that came up again as a way to make sure I was serious or not. What's really great is as soon as I decided that I still needed to be there, um, despite how I was feeling in that moment, 36 hours before and being really unsure, as soon as I sat with it and decided and made that decision, um, by the time I got to the center and we started that morning, I was in a really good place, and things kind of came back into alignment. But to your point, I think there's wobbles that happen leading up to the journey because that's a way of really making sure you're sure and you're ready for the work that's you're being led towards.
Yeah, well said. Thank
Thank
you.
you. Yeah.
Um, and on your journey day, what was it like entering the space at Bendable Service Center in downtown Bend? Can you give people a little kind of mental picture of what that looked like and felt like as you entered the space?
Yeah, I was a little nervous about being in a kind of high traffic area and being in a place that seemed like there was going to be the potential for a lot of distractions. As soon as I pulled down the street and saw the beautiful sign from the roadway, very it all felt like you're pulling into your driveway, or like you're visiting a family member. Um, it was very well put together, and I just felt at ease as soon as I found the space, which again was easy to find. It wasn't difficult. The parking was fine. Everything was fine. But I think the mental, um, there's a lot you're going to think about as you're approaching the journey day, and I think there's things that are going to come up for everybody, but this is one thing you don't have to worry about.
Oh,
Yeah.
and I love that you said it. It felt like you were, going into your driveway or approaching someone's home. And because a lot of clients say that it feels kind of like a retro grandma vibe in the center. It's not clinical or sterile by any means. And it's tucked, even though it's downtown, it's tucked off the main streets just enough that I feel like it's quiet and peaceful. Did you notice any like outside noises or anything like that, like distracting you during your journey?
Not at all. Again, it was such a comfortable space. It wasn't too big and overly decorated. It was just the right size to feel like a good container and to feel like it could um hold the space for entering into um the journey. And even the front door opening up to the main street. We had the door open a few times and it never felt distracting. It was just it was a really great experience. And I don't think
Okay.
it could have been, yeah, I there anything in regards to being inside. I know other people may have that apprehension because I certainly did myself, and
Yep.
I can't imagine it any other way now. I think
Yeah,
it was
thanks for
perfect.
pointing that out too, right? That's one thing that people are unsure of, right? Being inside for this type of experience. And so, Bendable Service Center and myself, right, we try to bring the outside in with not like it's a jungle in the center, but like nice plants and, we Also brought in some Douglas fir essential oil towards the peak of your journey to kind of feel like we're in a forest. And I brought in fresh flowers and things like that too. And so we want it to feel like a home away from home, like your own little sanctuary for the day. So I
Yeah.
enjoyed
And
it.
I'll say that there's important work that needs to happen, being in a place that feels safe, and being inside is a different type of experience than you'll have when you're out in the woods. And I'll admit that that's my favorite place that I'm in with my dogs every day, rain or shine, snow. I'm outside. I love being outside. But this felt important to have a space that you could be inside for this facilitation to happen of this medicine. And again, I was not thinking that I needed that. I always want to be outside all the time, but this the way this was set up really helped facilitate the experience that needed to happen. So
Mhm.
if again, if there's apprehensions around that, um, trust it. Trust that it's set up in a way that it really is for the experience that you're moving towards.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. And I love that, being inside, it's also representative that you're going inside too on a deeper
Hmm.
level. It is very much therapeutic work, not recreational, like some people associate with, taking psilocybin out in nature. And I love being out in nature too. It's my happy place. And so the more I can feel like we're bringing those natural elements in while you're going inward and also allowing you to not be distracted by everything that would be outside as well um,
Hmm.
is really helpful. So thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, yeah.
As someone who works in the healing field, how did the container and the setting feel to you and impact your journey?
Yeah. Again, I may have had some apprehensions. Like the space is cozy. I'll say it's cozy, and I was like, how are we going to be in here for the kind of the duration of the journey? And the the transitions that happened between having space and a couch to sit on, having a place to stretch with my foam roller and lay out, and then having a place to lay and comfortably relax with an eye mask on gives you the ability to be relaxed in whatever space you need to be in. Um, and the transitions that happen through the time that you're there were just um, they elevated the experience because it was it was enough to take the journey farther and almost enhance it in ways. But it didn't feel like they were huge, laborious transitions between um, either having the eye mask on or needing to run to the bathroom or right any of the different things that happen, the smudging, all of that was contained in a small enough space that the transitions felt easy and natural. And that was really important. It was important not to feel like, all right, we're going to get up and go to this other room to do this thing. And um, that can take you out of I think, out of the flow of the journey. And I thought that was really important that everything set up in the space helped you flow within the container, if that
Yeah.
makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah, even we talked about the Sonos speakers. They're not just in the main room where we have your journey, but they're throughout the space, even in the bathroom, right? And so you
Yeah.
continue your journey no matter where you are in the space. And I mean, I love that you can take up space too at the center. It's and for people that don't know, I'll explain that Bendable Service Center is a renovated old home, and so it was just Matt, me, and our service center representative Maddie for the day, and so there's not other people having journeys in other rooms. You don't have to hike across the building to use the restroom,
Mhm.
and so it can feel very kind of private, cozy, and intimate. Is that how you felt?
Yeah, and that was another thing that I was, I even beforehand thinking about how many people might be in and out and thinking about that distraction and then realizing that the space is really there for you, right? It was
Mhm.
there for me as a client, and that felt really important to not be thinking about other people needing to come in and out or other distractions that could come up. So it was really great just knowing that that space was set up for me, and that was my space for the day.
How did it feel having a professional facilitator, a guide with you throughout your experience? Was there anything in particular that stood out to you or made the experience feel different, unique, supported in any ways?
Also, nothing I've experienced before. I have never been in this type of setting with that type of guidance and yeah, support to be there through an experience like this. Uh, and it was fantastic. I didn't know how impactful that could be until experiencing it in a setting like this. Um, Again, I'm in the healing space, the energetic space, um, and never having experienced that before, it didn't feel important to me before. And now it really has changed my perspective on how powerful this work can be when you have uh, a guide and a facilitator um, to help you work through the process. And I just think you did an amazing job at that, Cate. And I can't imagine not having you there and not being able to lean on you during those times. Um, Again, it just enhanced the entire experience in ways that I just didn't know was possible.
Good. I'm
Yeah,
so glad. And for a lot of people, they don't realize too, one of my favorite things about having a professional guide is someone to take notes, knowing that
Mhm.
you don't have to remember everything and you can just share as much or as little as you need and they'll write it down. And was it helpful that I took notes and I sent them to you before our first integration session?
Absolutely. Yes. And to that point, knowing you were there, you're not distracted by trying to find a journal and then coming out of um, a place that you're at in your journey to try and remember things. But then you also were just really you were available when I needed you, and you gave me space when I didn't. And I think that's so important to not feel smothered or overwhelmed,
Mm,
and also know that tool is there for you as a client to get the most out of this time that you've set aside for yourself. Uh, Super valuable. Um, and also the stuff that you're not able to incorporate that day, the next day, getting the notes and then rereading them. It was extremely powerful, and it helped me integrate more of my journey than I expected to. To go back and have a timeline is just really valuable um, for integration. Yeah,
yeah. And how did you feel about the playlist I created? I nerd out and this was definitely a challenge, right? For someone that's also a sound therapy practitioner, biofield tuning practitioner. For those of you who don't know, Matt was actually my biofield tuning practitioner instructor years ago, and that's how we met and connected, and we just kind of hit it off. And so how was that playlist? How did the music guide your experience? And was it helpful that I sent that playlist for integration too?
absolutely. And again, I hope this doesn't sound like I'm repeating myself. I was a little, uh, just the tiniest bit, um, I keep using that word apprehensive. I just wasn't sure. And I trusted you, Kate, but I didn't know. I didn't know what that was going to be like. I think, especially as being a sound therapist, sound in that space is so important. It's essential to get you into the places and enhance the experience as a client. So I selfishly kind of wanted to pick my own things and thought I needed to send you, Kate, the list that I wanted, but letting go of the need for a little bit of control of what to expect during the journey um, was a small challenge for me, but the reward was immense. I was so blown away at how perfect and um, how impactful the range of music was, and how it helped me flow through the entire day. Again, just like with you being there and taking notes, I can't imagine the journey without that experience. And then having it afterward to integrate again gives you a reference point and a roadmap to go back through what you experienced for a deeper level of integration.
Good. I love that.
Yeah.
And I think I put like one song at the end that you had said, like, oh, I really like some of these, a beautiful chorus. And so I just didn't want to because myself personally, if I create the playlist, it puts me in practitioner mode, and that was one thing we had talked about in preparation is making sure you're out of work mode and into receiving mode.
Mm.
Um, and so there was also a meditation by East Forest we played at the beginning that we love, and so I think that we both enjoyed the music, and quite a few of those songs kind of came up, and I was tapping my feet, and we were swaying to the music and stuff. So yeah, that's
Yeah,
great.
absolutely. And having a blank canvas of new sounds and new music that you haven't heard before gives you a new experience to have versus music and vibration holds memories for us, and it's good and bad, but I think it's important to note that going into this space and having almost like a blank canvas with music that I've never heard before was important rather than the safety and the comfort of the songs that I thought I wanted that I was already connected to could have it just would have been a different experience. So I was really glad that it was a new list and a new way to experience that while I was going through the journey.
We did a 2 hour integration session about a week after your journey. And I'm wondering if you could share a little bit about how that helped or impacted your experience. Was there anything there that was particularly helpful?
Yeah, I again would say just like the prep call, just like the space, all of it was essential to get the most out of the experience. So, um, people may or may not know after a journey like that, there's several days of integration and there's a lot to process and go through with these types of plant medicines. And the integration session and the insights that you were able to provide, Cate, since you were there
Mhm.
pre pre journey during the facilitation and then afterwards, um it lets the client come full circle. And you're able to provide insights with the time that we spent together beforehand, again, because you were there and connect the dots for things that most of us aren't able to do when we're in the process. So extremely valuable. And I think that was one of my favorite parts was the post integration call.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah,
to wrap up and have the bookends and feel like that was the complete experience.
yeah.
Mm.
And if you don't mind mentioning too, like there was some stuff that came up after your journey, right? Like you were like, "Oh, this is wonderful." I had like a day of bliss integrating, and then some house stuff, and then it was like a trigger, right? And it was just we talked about the book. I think it's called after ecstasy, then the laundry,
Mhm.
right? So like after you have this profound experience, then real life comes back in, and you want that profound experience to last, especially the intensity of it. And so can you, or would you mind sharing anything that you feel comfortable with around that too?
Yeah. After having an experience that is hard to put into words, and integrating that, um, it can be not a confusing, it can be, I think it can just be difficult to integrate,
Yeah.
because you've been in a place where you're experiencing um, yourself and your brain making connections that it doesn't normally make. So then stepping back into your normal life and normal routine that can be the cause of some unhealthy patterns in your life. When you step back into that space, there is a tendency to be triggered or to not understand how to interact with these habits that we stepped away from before the journey. So, um, yes, having the post interview call, integration call, um, and being able um, to come back into your own life and your own responsibilities and the day to day with your guidance was really essential. Again, to making this come full circle.
Good. Good. I'm so glad. And have you noticed any shifts in how you relate to yourself, your work, or your life since this last journey?
Yeah, absolutely. It is like cleaning the windshield after a long road trip. The bugs get splattered. You try and use your windshield wipers, and sometimes it smears it more, and it's harder and harder to see. But as soon as you make a pit stop and you get out and you really clean your windshield again, you get back on the road. There's no better feeling than being able to see clearly. And I think clearing our own filters, and clearing the lens that we see life through, it all becomes easier. And I think that's why this work is really important for everybody. I think it can be really life changing for everyone. And when you interact again with the daily kind of the daily grind of being a human, it's easier to prioritize your happiness, your health, your um, what you want to prioritize in your life to be a better human after you've had this kind of experience.
I love that. And have you, well, I'll say this, as a Rolfing practitioner who works with the body, did this experience give you any new perspective on that connection between maybe emotional and physical holding patterns too?
Yeah, working with and kind of being in the space of specifically with fascia, and fascia being part of a sensory organ in the body, and being connected, very deeply connected to the nervous system. Yes, we have holding patterns within our body that create chemical changes in our body, and the way we hold our holding patterns, our posture is deeply connected to how we feel. Um, so it it helps connect how we are and how we move our bodies, is really connected to the emotional states we can be in, and how we interact with the world around us. And sometimes it's hard to notice those things when we get into our normal day-to-day stuff. We're not thinking about maybe a little bit of slouching we're doing at the computer causes a feeling of anxiety or frustration within the body. But it's all connected, right? They're all connected. So again, clearing out the filter and seeing those things for how they impact us, all of us as humans, was really impactful to my work and working with my clients.
Yeah, good, good. Um, and also as a Rolfing practitioner, first, can you explain what Rolfing is, just in case someone doesn't know? And then, how do you see this type of work potentially supporting your Rolfing clients?
Okay, so rolfing is a modality that focuses on the fascia within the body and helping people become in alignment. So if chiropractors worked on the bones and massage therapists worked on the muscles, a Rolfer works on everything in between to get someone's body organized.
I love that.
Yeah.
That's a good description. And for those of for those people who don't know, like how can this type of modality fit well with this type of therapeutic psilocybin experience?
Yeah, so we're not always able to listen into our body at a deep level. And doing body work, and especially holistic body work, like Rolfing, um, gives you a chance to change the patterns that are happening within your body.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And did this psilocybin experience help you go inward deeper and listen and connect with your body on that level that you're explaining, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Because it awakens again, I think more of our proprioception and more of the somatic experience that we're not able to tap into all the time. I'm I would say I'm a fairly active human, mountain biking and running and weightlifting, and I love moving my body and taking good care of my body. But I was able to listen in during the journey and understand and hear things that my body was telling me that I hadn't heard before, or I hadn't created space to listen as deeply. And it changed how I'm moving my body and how I'm taking care of it. And that's really important for people that love their body and want it to work better. Right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Good, good. What would you say to someone who feels curious about a legal psilocybin journey, but also a little nervous?
That is I would say that's a normal human experience. Be nervous. That's okay. And
Humbling.
I think when you're approaching a life-changing experience, there's gonna be nervousness because
Mhm.
it will change you. But if you're willing to step up and do the work, um, then there's no reason why you shouldn't do it because you're going to be a better person by clearing your filter. You're going to be able to see the world better and interact with it differently than you have before.
Great, great. Um, I know we talked about this at the end of your journey and you didn't have words for it then, and you said, let's revisit this. So I'm going to bring it up now. If you had to describe your experience in a word or a phrase, what might that
Hmm.
be?
Um, okay, a word or a phrase. I've been thinking about this for 10 days too. 11 days now. Um, let's see. Okay, a word or a phrase would be.
It could be several
Yeah.
words.
Huh?
We'll open up the container a little bit. It could be several.
Okay. Several things, several words.
It could be several things, several words if you like.
Okay. It's a deeply meaningful, personalized experience.
Beautiful.
Yeah,
Okay. Last question. Looking back now, are you glad you chose to do this journey in a legal, professionally facilitated setting?
absolutely 100%. No question. Yes.
Great, great. Is there anything else you would like to share with anyone that's going to watch this after the fact? Anything that you forgot to mention, or anything you think might be important for someone new to this work, or even new to this type of licensed, legal, regulated model that we have here in Oregon?
Yeah, I mean, I think we covered most of it, Kate, talking about how you provide a roadmap for someone to feel safe during this type of experience, especially if it's something new. And also just making the feelings that come up a normal part of the experience. It's okay to be extremely nervous. It's okay to not know. something. It's okay to not know what's going to come up, and it's okay to enter into that space um, in this new field that's emerging because it was absolutely a safe container, and one that can change your life if you're ready to show up and do the work.
I love that. And I often, as you know, describe psilocybin as a teacher and a tool. Like it won't do the work for you, but it will work with you as far as you want to go. And it sounds like you feel similar about that.
Absolutely, yes.
Thank you so much, Matt, for connecting with me today and taking the time to share a little bit about your experience. I always appreciate our conversations, and I look forward to connecting with you again soon.